funding sources that have donated to it.
Answer your questions? Okay. Anyway, the project, the bidder that got it was Goberson Smith Construction for $1,513,754.24. He's a low bidder.
Is there any of these unit cost differences that I just saw 10 minutes ago? Any of these concern you? Because there is, I mean, I'd like the Dickinson 250,000 or whatever versus the 400 down the page. Because then we could get it down under it, but I mean, but this is a unit cost project.
Correct, yep.
So is any of these unit cost things, I mean, it's gonna be a different number than this 1,513,000 that we're approving.
Usually it fluctuates a
Has
little
to
bit,
be,
yeah.
okay?
Yep.
But are you comfortable that they're pretty close on the units with what your unit pricing cost is and the things that we may go over?
So-
Are they gonna make us fight each other when you come back?
It's common that, yeah, there'll be some fluctuation in unit prices, either from the engineer's estimate to the different contractors. And if we see any particular items where we think their price is way off base, we'll usually reach out to them. In the case of this project, there was actually a couple of items that we thought their price was fairly cheap on. So what we did is we reached out to the contractor and made sure that they had the exact same understanding as us on what these bid items were, and that these are paid as planned quantity items. In this case, it was some dirt work bid items. But we assured them that we had the same understanding of it. They confirmed, and then we said, okay, we will move forward with recommendation of this project. So,
we don't need another bunch of questions in a couple of months or something.
Correct. A good question. That this stuff does happen every so often. Nothing in this contract in particular was totally out in left field, but there were some that were
Well,
a little bit
there's a
cheap.
bunch of items. I mean, there's a bunch of different quantities here.
Correct.
That they're looking at, you know, some of these, we only have half a dozen. You got 25 items here, and you guys are gonna be on board or close by, monitoring that they do it and put it in, and
Yes.
make sure it's not gonna fall, or make sure the linement's gonna be right so it doesn't look misaligned like the bridge going over Mahogany does, because the county didn't know what the heck they were doing. Oh, excuse me.
For the record, 42 total bid items. That's a good number for me. I'm happy to see a project with 42 bid items instead of 120 or so.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Well, again, thanks for coming up, because I don't know anything about it, and I ain't got any control anyway, so.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate your time and your questions.
All right, thanks a lot. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 21-33. 34, excuse me. Awarding the contract for the PlyWood Trail Phase 1 project to Goberson Smith in the amount of $1,513,754.24.
Second to the motion.
Motion made and second to adopt the resolution number 2134, awarding the contract of the PlyWood Trail Phase 1A project to Goberson Smith in the amount of $1,513,754.24. We have a roll call on that, Jacob?
Yep. Nelson?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yep.
Donovan?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thanks a lot, appreciate it. Glad you came to the Mars today. Okay.
Yeah, you can eat. You can eat.
Moving on to action item number 2. Discussion has taken place to change how the mayor and council are compensated. Currently, the mayor receives $1,500 a month or $18,000 annually, and the council members receive $500 a month and $6,000 annually. A proposed ordinance is attached to amend section 15.04 and section 17.06 of the Lamar's Code of Ordinances, changing both salaries to a stepped system based on longevity. Recommendation is the administration recommends council proceed with setting a public hearing. Any questions? Jason, you wanna visit about this?
No, I'm just gonna say, I mean, we can proceed or we can not proceed. I'll leave it up to you guys.
situation where I couldn't find a house in the 3rd Ward, as many of you are aware, and I'm going to be moving up to Ward 1 and plan on running for the seat. But does that, because I've got 4 months that I will not be on the council this year, what does the word consecutive mean?
Yeah, so like I said, I can change it. So it was basically just the thought of, if you've done this before, I mean, you've gained experience, you know what it's about and what it involves. Whether or not you want to move between the different elected positions, there should be, you should be compensated for that. So it's based off of experience. So I can change this to cover something like that, or if somebody, like I gave the example, if somebody was a councilman for 8 years, okay, they took 2 years off or whatever and decided they were going to run for mayor or run for council again. To me, that could be considered previous experience, okay? So the wording can be changed upon previously serving 4 consecutive years to make it apply to that. The intent wasn't, the way it's worded, I mean, it can be changed. The intent wasn't there to kick out the people where there's a gap. I mean, so maybe I should have
My
better
suggestion,
defined it.
and it's up to you guys, but my suggestion would be that we don't want someone that served 4 years in 1972 to run again and get the increased pay. So maybe it needs to be reworded some way, you know, upon serving 4 years within the last 10, or within the last, whatever you guys want. But the intent is for people that are up to speed already, but if you've not served in government for 20 years, I mean, you're gonna have to get back up to speed.
I just brought it up because
Oh,
it's one of those issues that came up at the
Right.
same time we were doing this.
So you're saying Rex won't remember things 20 years from now?
I hope. The mayor won't be back.
You got that one right.
I skipped right by you.
He hopes not. I thought you were talking about Rex Lincoln.
Yeah, so really, I mean, this is a starting point. I tried to write it after receiving comments and wrote it the way it is. I mean, like all other ones, this is the very first step, so if we need to make little tweaks, that's fine.
And now it's time to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, so dollar amounts, we can discuss whether they're appropriate.
Well, I think my whole intent the whole time has been the experience factor that Mike's talking about. But a 3-month or a 4-year void, I hardly think would disqualify anybody. Now, so both have good points. I'm in support of it because you learn that it's a lot more in depth than what you realize. But I guess I'm not too worried about the scenario that you gave, because in a case where somebody's been off for 12 years, they still know the process. They still know that there's committees, there's meetings, there's all sorts of involvement beyond sitting up here every Tuesday or every other Tuesday for an hour and a half. So I'm good however you guys decide. But the second question I'd like to bring up, and I know that I had discussed the whole ward system privately with Mr. Murphy and Jason, and I'm satisfied with the answers that I received. But let me ask you a question. The case of a council person vacating in the last year and moving to a different ward, is there a way we can put that in our ordinance that would say, if it's within a year? I know a lot of people will refer to the supervisors in Woodbury County. That doesn't apply here, because I understand that was something where he was elected outside of where he said he was living. But he didn't live there for 3 years and then decided to move somewhere else. So can we change that in our ordinance?
Well, I think,
Or is that a state thing?
well, I
It's
think
based
our
on the
answers we
states.
gave
That's a
were.
state thing?
Yeah, it's based on the state.
Yeah.
Okay, then just forget I asked the question.
Yes, the answers we
I mean,
gave,
that's fine.
the answers we gave Clark were based off of what the state code says.
Okay, right, and I knew that. So drop that part, okay, so.
Well, no, let's continue with this for fun. Can we make all 5 seats at large?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And is it time enough to do that so that we don't run into these kind of issues of having, I'll pick on Kenny, I think there was 78 votes in your ward last time or something like that.
But Mike,
And if Kenny's
When-
not running.
When it was discussed, Rex, the comments that I heard about that concept were, we don't wanna have 5 councilmen in the same neighborhood up here on the council.
I'm not.
That was the negative.
Right, but we got, we got 5,000 people to vote on that. We got 78 people. This guy can't run. Nobody wants to run in that ward, so we're gonna get potentially somebody with 20 votes. But somebody else maybe needs 500 votes to sit up here. I'm not dissing that ward. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just saying there is differences. The ward system was set up in a time when everybody was trying to get everybody's streets and he was able to walk around and see the streets. Clark's able to walk around and see the streets. But Clark's mentioned before too. How many phone calls does he get from his ward? About 5. How many does he get from everywhere else? 50?
Yeah, that is true.
Okay? So people don't even know. They even ask me what I am. And I've been here forever. Had this color hair on. But my point is that there is, I think, I'm agree with Mike that I'm nervous that we could have all 5 from the same area of town. But I also think, I don't think so. I think people will run all over town if they really want to run and serve and be a volunteer. That's what it is. And if you don't like the fact that they're all running from one street or whatever like that, then you get out and run. It's kind of like this. I don't know if a guy that ran in 72 and stopped for 28 years or 38 years decides to run again, I'll give him the extra $50 a month. I don't care, or $150 a month, because Clark's right. You have to, Robert's Rules of Order and all this kind of stuff, kind of a big deal. I mean, you still did back in that day. So I think we can make it that after 4 years, you get this and make it very simple. But I'm also on step 2 that says
5 open.
that we gotta have some ability for people to run. We may pick on Rex's place, we may get 5 people that wanna run for an at-large seat, and we'll have 2 other seats that don't have anybody running. That's not a good scenario. That's not healthy to this town. And yeah, maybe there needs to be this wonderful write-up in the newspaper tomorrow, since today was firefighters, on the top page, trying to get money for days. So, and I know that I'm gonna catch them griping, because they're gonna say, well, yeah, but they're all gonna be down your street or whatever like that, and it's like, I didn't say they had to be from my street. I didn't care where they were.
I think the only way it could be changed is by petition.
Yeah, so we looked up that stuff, Rex. I mean, so in this form of government, there's certain ways we can do it. I mean, so there's wards, there's at-large, and there's different variations of that. There's a mix of wards and at-large like we are. There's also, we could probably do all wards. We could do all at-large.
Yeah.
But in order to change how it's set up, it does take a petition from the public.
How many people?
That's in there too. It's a percentage of the people that voted last time.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, then it has to go to a vote at the next election, or you can have a special election to change it. So somebody would have to step forward.
So to answer Rex's question, it can't be done now. for
No,
this
it cannot
next-
be done before the next election.
Right.
You don't have enough time.
Now, just to bring it back to this ordinance that we're talking about, I'm hearing you guys say that we need to take out the word consecutive and just make it, instead of having served 4 years, period.
Very, yep, make it simple.
Dollar amounts, is everybody,
I like the dollar amount.
everybody okay there?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't like the longevity thing. I like the 12 for the mayor and the 6 for the council, and that's it. I think that term limits and turning and getting new faces and things is a useful thing, and incentives to stay has pros and cons. So that's where I sit. I think it's comparable to, when you look at the comps to what other cities are getting, we're high. And so to go higher after more service doesn't make sense unless you want to cut it back and then go up to 6. So there.
In that, I wasn't gonna get it in a rundown of, research that was done, but I did. We are on the high end of
Very
both.
high.
Of both.
Shocked.
But we're also no longer 12th Street, the edge of south edge of town in the last 20 years. We're all the way out to, what,
We have more
29?
More people coming town to work, we have more houses getting built, we have more TIF area, we have more TIF revenue coming in, we have less debt than anybody around us, including all the people that pay less to their council salaries. So, no, we spend more time, guaranteed, than Sioux Center, Orange City, probably even Sioux City. And that's just my opinion.
And on top of that, we have cheaper water, cheaper sewer, cheaper trash. We have a 27-hole golf course. If we're gonna use what another community has versus what we don't have versus what we have, use it across the board. Take out 9 holes of the golf course, because everybody else only has 18. That ain't gonna fly. So to compare to another community, I think is ridiculous. That's my opinion.
What you're saying on this one is to lower the starting for the mayor, and then potentially raise it back up after a few years, okay? And then all you're talking about is adding $50 on to the council after a number of years, right?
It's 150.
150 a month after a number of years, okay?
Four years in both cases.
Huh?
4 years in both cases.
Right, but
2 terms for the mayor, 1 term for a council.
But we're already gonna be ahead, $6 grand for the first 4 years, right?
You might be ahead a lot more than that. I believe there's races to be had in, 4 chairs?
Yeah, so.
So I mean, and that's not even the point. The point was is that Dick stepped up to the plate, hit it out of the park
To do more work.
when we needed a mayor to step up. That's the whole point. The next guy, he's gonna come in and learn.
I think these are reasonable. I'll vote for these. But when we voted to raise them the last time, which was 20-some years ago, it wasn't unanimous at that point either.
But it failed.
Well.
Well, I've got that history in case you guys were gonna ask.
Yeah, that was.
That's horrible.
Oh, yeah, this was back in the dark ages.
Well, the last time it was raised, the last time it actually was raised was 02.
Yeah.
Motion to establish July 20th, 2021 at 12 p.m. as a time and date for public hearing amending Chapter 15, Mayor and Council, Chapter 17, Council, I just read that wrong. Chapter 15, Mayor, Chapter 17, City Council, Court of Ordinances.
Second.
Motion made second to establish a July 20th, 2021 at 12 p.m. as a date and time for a public hearing to amend Chapter 15, Mayor, and Chapter 17, City Council of the Lamar's Code of Ordinances.
That's to make it after 4 years, not consecutive.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'll change it for the hearing.
After 4 years?
We gotta do 3 readings, right?
Yeah.
I'll take the word consecutive out.
Mayor
That's
too?
all you gotta do.
Mayor too? You only got 2-year terms.
You still gotta win twice.
I gotta win 6 times.
Well,
After, what was that?
Everything's fine.
All right.
You're good.
Where's
just gonna have a hearing.
Okay.
We'll start the game.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You got her all down there, Jacob?
I think so.
All right. Okay, moving on to, number 3. And that is a police station burn project, change order and acceptance. Closeout of the 2020 police station burn project has been completed. Attached is a change order number 2. Administration and Beck Engineering recommended the council acceptance. Do you want to visit about that, Jason, or just?
So when you look at the council agenda on your cell phone, when you get that, it says police station burn. project.
That's all it is.
I was going, what the heck are they burning at the police station?
It does get a little hot down there once in a while.
I think we're all good, except my only question is, we got some sticks up on the side of the berm and sideways and stuff like that. Is that what we're measuring up? There's some yellow painted sticks in certain parts on that berm.
I haven't been out there lately.
Last week when I drove by, on the O'Reilly side, there's still a couple sticks out there. Is it all at the right height right now?
I go look at it.
It's done, yeah, it's all final grade with grass, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some sticks in that berm in a couple places, like, you know, somebody wanted to measure how high it was or something like that, and so, maybe somebody just stuck them out there, but they were out there when I drove by.
It isn't for project number 2, is it?
No.
I'll go look at it.
Okay. I mean, it looked like it was done, and like you said, it's all been seeded.
Yeah.
We don't have much grass because we don't have any rain,
I'll
but.
take a look at it.
There's a dog out there.
Okay.
That's a stick, no more.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve change order number 2 in the amount of $3,773.20 and to accept the completed 2020 police station burn project.
Second to the motion.
motion made and second to approve and change order number 2 in the amount of $3,773.20 and to accept the completed 2020 police station